Did you know that 94% of today's students own cell phones, according to Burns and Lowry? Cell phones today are used for more than just phone calls and texting. Smartphones have become a part of everyday life. Just like we were taught typing in high school, today's students need to be taught how to use cell phones effectively and responsibly. After all, cell phones have become an essential communication tool and not necessarily any more disruptive than a student tapping a pencil on the desk. I believe cell phones should not only be allowed in schools, but also encouraged. First, cell phones, especially smartphones, have become an important tool for learning. More and more administrators and teachers regard cell phones as educational learning tools that offer many benefits in a school setting. Some schools have already changed their policies towards cell phone use and incorporated it into their daily learning. Students' cell phones have a wealth of technology that can enhance learning, such as note-taking, the calendar and the calculator, and to access the internet. I use my calendar to keep track of assignments, due dates, and when the next test is. I took all my college algebra classes and only used my cell phone calculator instead of having to buy an expensive graphing calculator. Cell phones are also great for doing research, especially when you are not in front of your computer. In fact, I did most of my research for this class and many of my other online classes on my cell phone. There are also many good learning websites to enhance learning in the classroom. Fortunately, teacher in-service trainings today are becoming more geared towards 21st century learners, including how to use student-owned technology in the classroom as an instructional tool. According to Andre Potvin, the principal of Lester B. Pearson Catholic School, the instructional benefits are significant and we really don't have but a choice to move in this direction. As we move in this direction, keep in mind cell phones can also improve communication between students and parents. Next, cell phones allow students to keep in contact with family and friends. Cell phones create a convenience that was previously not available. With cell phones, you can easily reach your kids for any reason, to ask them questions or change transportation plans. My son, the one with Tourette's, calls me frequently to bring him lunch money, an assignment, or his ID badge. Thankfully, my son's high school has changed their cell phone policy, allowing students to use their cell phone during passing periods and lunchtime. This eliminates office staff from having to interrupt classes to relay these messages to students. Cell phones also allow parents to keep track of their children before, during, and after school. And students can reach you in the event of an emergency and vice versa. Also, if you were in danger, they can reach the authorities or a medical provider. What happens if a school goes in lockdown and parents are not notified immediately of the occurrence? Recently, our school went into lockdown and parents are not notified immediately of the occurrence. As a parent, I wanted to know immediately when the school went under lockdown and why. I was more relieved to know my son could contact me and keep me posted on the situation. If they did not carry cell phones, we could not have this minute-to-minute communication. However, we must teach our students appropriate use, including how and when to use cell phones. Cell phones are a great learning tool and outstanding for communication, but use them properly, it can be a huge distraction to the classroom. As I watch people in our daily lives, it is obvious people were never taught cell phone etiquette or responsible use of cell phones. Why should we teach cell phone etiquette? According to Schrock, because students need to be practicing 21st century skills they will need in the future. For example, church services or meetings often start with a reminder to silence all cell phones. Awareness and education for students regarding the use of cell phones at school is essential for successful education. Distractions during class due to those lacking in cell phone etiquette may reduce optimal teaching and learning. Therefore, students should be taught when and how to use these devices. This awareness promotes courtesy and professionalism necessary for optimal teaching, learning, and future use. So when students enter a classroom, they are greeted with a reminder about texting during class, about appropriate use, and to silence their phones. If students get caught using their cell phones or texting during class, teachers should take them away temporarily. When tests or quizzes are administered, teachers should have students leave their cell phones in a designated place. By teaching students appropriate use, we also teach them how to be more responsible young adults, which they will like. In conclusion, those opposed to cell phones in school worry because of the possible distractions and disruptions in the classroom. We have to accept that cell phones are an important part of our everyday lives. We need to take advantage of the technological world we live in to improve communication and provide learning tools to students by teaching them proper phone etiquette. I read a quote from Scott Herman, the principal of Gemini Junior High School, that I thought would sum up this topic well. He said, "Since the cell phone policy was rethought, havoc has not reigned, our school structure has not collapsed, and the instructional process has not suffered. We now have more time to focus on what matters, teaching and learning. Teachers and administrators must find a way to integrate this technological tool in our schools."